رمضان أقبل يا أولي الألباب فاستقبلوه بعد طول غياب عام مضى من عمرنا في غفلة فتنبهوا فالعمر ضل سحاب.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Du'as of the Ambiyaa alayhimus salam is found in the Quran. There are many times when we question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with regards to certain things that have unfolded in our lives. And on the backdrop of doing so, we realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond question. There's a sense of guilt and there's maybe a little bit of uncertainty surrounding how do I now engage Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala based on having realized my folly. We learn a beautiful lesson from Nuh alayhi salam. When Nuh alayhi salam had been instructed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to build the ark, he had done so. Then he had asked all of the believers to board the ark, and when he saw the flood waters rising, the paternal instinct meant that he reached out to his son, requesting that his son too board the ark. And when his son did not want to board the ark, Nuh alayhi salam, as any true believer, in this instance as a prophet of Allah, turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over everyone else, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for permission, for consent for his son to board the ark. And the response that came from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was based on the fact that as Nuh alayhi salam did not fully know, his son was not from amongst the believers. A son had in a sense hoodwinked his father to believe that he was on the path of his father and the rest of the believers. When this becomes apparent to Nuh alayhi salam feels the sense of discomfort that he had reached out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something that he did not know about. He did not know that his son was from amongst the disbelievers. How does Nuh alayhi salam supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala captures this in the 11th chapter of Quran, the 11th surah of Quran, Surah Hud, in ayah number 47, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shares with us the dua that was made by Nuh alayhi salam when he realized, oops, I had asked Allah for my son to board the ark, unknowing that my son was actually one of the disbelievers. The dua that Nuh alayhi salam made, رَبِّ إِنِّي أَعُوذُ بِكَ أَنْ أَسْأَلَكَ مَا لَيْسَ لِي بِهِ عِلْمٍ وَإِلَّا تَغْفِرْ لِي وَتَرْحَمْنِي أَكُنْ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. رَبِّ إِنِّي أَعُوذُ بِكَ, O my Lord, indeed أَعُوذُ بِكَ, I seek protection in you from أَنْ أَسْأَلَكَ مَا لَيْسَ لِي بِهِ عِلْمٍ, I seek protection in you from that I ask you concerning those matters surrounding which I do not have sound or any knowledge. أن أسألك ما ليس لي به علم وإلا تغفر لي وترحمني, and if you do not forgive me and show mercy upon me, أكون من الخاسرين, indeed I will be from amongst those who are the perpetual losers. A beautiful dua that we learn from Nuh alayhi salam, the application of the dua when we second guess the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not realizing that Allah's knowledge is beyond the short-term, medium-term and long-term timelines, but Allah's knowledge is eternal. Allah knows everything that was and everything that will be. This is a very basit, a very subtle way of having a deep conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to all achieve these spiritual heights, that we can be in conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this particular way, where we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concerning where we sometimes, just in our minds, we may not have verbalized it, we may not have articulated it, but we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concerning those thoughts and notions that were against the grain and the spirit in which we should accept Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as Al-Alim. This dua once again, رَبِّ إِنِّي أَعُوذُ بِكَ أَنْ أَسْأَلَكَ مَا لَيْسَ لِي بِهِ عِلْمٍ وَإِلَّا تَغْفِرْ لِي وَتَرْحَمْنِي أَكُنْ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. O my Lord, Indeed, I seek protection in you from that I ask you concerning those aspects surrounding which I have knowledge. If you are not forgiving and do not shower your mercy upon me, indeed I will be from amongst those who are the losers. Nuh alayhi salam also made another dua. This found in Surah Nuh much later in Quran, the 71st Surah of Quran, verse number 28. رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيَّ وَلِمَنْ دَخَلَ بَيْتِيَ مُؤْمِنًا وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. That Nuh alayhi salam made dua for himself, he made dua for his parents, and he made dua for all of those who were from the fraternity of believers. May we always espouse the character trait of including many other people in our du'as as well, as we learn from Nuh alayhi salam.